Okay, hello everybody. Hello. And Happy New Year. This is the second installment from the Guiddhist. What's the Guiddhist, you might ask? Well, basically, it's what happens when you take an Italian kid from Brooklyn and he starts reading all the spiritual stuff and starts to get into it and starts to really dig Buddhism. So you take Italian kid from Brooklyn, who's a Guido, right? And you mix that with a Buddhist, and you get the Guiddhist. And it's funny because when I was kind of like thinking about this, remember, if you've listened to my last installment, really it was kind of like a joke, you know what I mean? Like, just reading about, the fact that there was this thing, very simply called Jews, right? These many Jewish, spiritual people who became Buddhists, right? And it's recognized, it's known, And so, the Guiddhist came about because, I was thinking to myself, well, what about the Italians, We meditate too. We're spiritual. So I came up with the Guiddhist. So that's a little bit of a breakdown. It's funny because, like, when I first came out with it, like, I was thinking about this and, I'm always looking for a joke out of it, right? So, like, I was trying to think to myself, because it's funny because, like, I really had, I think, one of the best ideas on earth, right? And that was to have, like, a GPS, like, from, like, some Italian guy from Brooklyn. It's like, oh, you made the wrong turn. What the hell's wrong with you, But now, like, with the Guiddhist, I'm like, all right, well, how's this going to fit in? Well, it's very simple, right? Like a Buddhist is going to chant Om, right? The Guiddhist is going to chant Om, No, listen, I like to joke around, but I am very serious about this. I believe that, that taking care of your mind, meditating, digging a little bit deeper than what we're, typically do, and also really working hard to quiet the mind, right? Because that's what this is really about, and what the meditation has taught me, right, is, that, our greatest enemy and our greatest detractor is our own mind, right? We constantly hear ourselves talking to ourselves, right? And oftentimes we're not, that the voice in our head is not, saying good things, right? It's always kind of like knocking us and beating us down and stuff, So the whole gig around meditation and interestingly, when you meditate, obviously your mind 100%, right, is going to wander, right? But the logic inside of it is to just, kind of without judgment, recognize that your mind is wandering and come back and focus on your breath, And it's funny because, like, as you work on this stuff and you get more practiced, right, basically what happens is you're able to kind of, like, when your mind starts to do that work on you, that number on you, you're actually able to kind of, like, calm it and quell it, and kind of bring it back. And it's funny because, like, we also often do this kind of stuff to ourselves, right? We make a mistake, like, I'm such an idiot, or I'm such a fool, I can't believe I did that, I'm such a schmuck, but that's not true. None of that is true, right? We made a mistake, and it's very, very normal and natural, and and we're going to do that hundreds of times a day, thousands of times a week, a day, a year, whatever. So, the whole idea is really, like, trying to figure out a way to just get some kind of control, to control the things that come in and out of your head, right? Like, it's almost like, because, like, thoughts that come into your head, they don't have an origin, right? They come in because that's just the way our mind works, and basically, what the idea is, you got to recognize it, got to let that thought land, and then get rid of it, right? So I liken it to, remember reading this book, that you liken it to, like, an air traffic control screen, right? So if I'm the air traffic controller, there's planes that are waiting to come in, right, into my little circle, right? But there's planes on the ground, and I have to let them leave before there's enough room for these other thoughts to come in, right? Well, I make the decision how long I want the airplanes to stay on the ground, right? Like, if I let a plane in, I could keep it there for an hour, right? And let it hold up that gate, or I can get it out, so that something, a new and fresh thing could come in. Well, it's the same thing with your mind, right? Like, you could allow these negative thoughts to sit there and fester, or you can get rid of them. Like recognize them, let them land. They have to land, right, and then get them on out, so that you could try. Because another thought's going to come in, right, and there's this teacher that I listen to a lot. His name is Nissim, Amon, and he's great. I really like him a lot. He's a Zen master, and he's a real guy. And he does this great meditation, and basically what he does is he kind of says that your mind is you're at the train station, and the trains are going by in each direction, right? And that's basically these thoughts that are coming into our head. And the goal, right, is to try to have a bigger gap between the trains. Clouds are going to continually come by in the sky, right? When there's tons of clouds and they're just constant, it's dark, right? But when there's when there's no clouds, it's bright, right? And it's trying to get that same kind of thing going. So, yeah, I guess by default, today's topic kind of went off onto, how to try to recognize that our mind is going to do a number on us. Everyone that listens to this or watches this can agree with me that our mind is this enemy that really does a number on us. So the thinking is that through meditation, through practice, you're gonna get to a place where you're gonna be able to control that, right? And I'll liken it to a story from way back in the day. Many of you know that I coached basketball. I was pretty successful. I took over the Middletown girls basketball program. They had a pretty rough go for a number of years. And I kind of just built it from the bottom and really worked really hard and stuff, and everything worked out well. And I remember I had this really, really ridiculously talented group of freshmen that we kept down on, excuse me, I'm wrong, 8th graders and stuff that we kept down on JV. And then when they came up, freshmen, it's, working. And, my whole thing was working on fundamentals. And, I needed every single kid on that team to be able to dribble with their left hand and to be able to take a layup with their left hand. It was just that simple, to just drill those fundamentals. That was one of the things. And I remember, just constantly work on it. The kids would always try to fake it out and, go down the left side and, do it with their right hand. And I'd yell at them and stuff. And, and I remember one game, this is so funny, one of my players, and I'm not going to name her, but she knows who she is. I'll never forget it. She gets this breakaway layup. She's going down the left side. She takes a layup with the left hand. It goes in. She's looking at me, and she just puts the left hand up. And it was it was such a cool moment, right? So, it's about practice, right? The more you do something, right, the more adept you're going to get at it, right? And the more it's going to be able to help you be successful, right? And I think that if, through meditation and through a lot of hard work and a lot of recognition, this Guiddhist right here has gotten to a point where he's really able to kind of have a little bit more control, right, of the thoughts that are going through my head. And again, going back to that book, The 10% Happy, that I mentioned that you all should read, by Dan Harris, because what it does is it makes it less intimidating. If we can only just get 10% better, right? If we can only get 1% better, talk about this all the time. It's about meeting somebody where they are and just trying to get them just uncomfortable enough so that they'll go to the next step. And that's the truth. The reality is no matter what, with growth, there has to be discomfort. There has to be, And, I've been, like I said, by no means do I have any kind of a background like some of the people that meditate. But, for me to meditate 265 consecutive days, that's kind of sick, for me, But the thing is, this is even though 265 days of meditation last night, I would say that maybe 5% of the time I was focused out of a half an hour meditation. My mind was just zooming all over the place. But that's okay, because, you're going to miss left-handed layups, when you first, you're going to miss, even Michael Jordan missed a left-handed layup once in a while, By the way, greatest basketball player ever. We could debate that when I do a podcast on sports or something. All right, but so here's the deal. Today, doing meditation right now. I'm going to do 20 minutes Yeah, because it's already after 10 o'clock. I want to get some sleep. But yeah, I'm going to do 20 minutes. I'm going to do my typical loving kindness meditation. And, I'm going to try really hard to try to give goodwill out to myself and to as many people as possible, and just make that intention, right, of making sure that I'm not doing harm to myself or to others, and just trying to, like, get inside my mind and help myself get better at avoiding the negative stuff. It's hard work, but I can assure you that if you're not doing it, if you are doing it, you get me. It's worth it, because it's such an unbelievable thing to be able to feel good. Is better about yourself, about your head and anxiety and stuff like that. But to the beginners out there, trust me, I'm telling you, man. If you just kind of like dig in on this a little bit, and allow yourself to go through this, you'll feel some really cool stuff. Yeah, it's good stuff. So, all right, look, I'm gonna dig in. I'm a minute over what I said. My allotted time is gonna be able to try to only do 10 minutes, but it went a little longer. I'll try to do this 3 times a week, and we're gonna do a live meditation once a week also. So keep your eye out. I appreciate all the people that have watched the first installment. I hope you'll watch the second. And come on, let's all work on being a little bit more in touch with ourselves, so we can be more in touch with other people and make this world a better place. The Guiddhist signing out. Om.